So welcome to the New Coach Call 2. And as I alluded to just then, we are going to move through the practicalities of actually making sure that we've got that list of names. In that initial call, we spoke about writing a list of at least 100 names. And I know certainly when I started, Joe, Charlotte, the same, writing that list of 100 people that, number one, the first thing that we think is, I don't have 100 people that I can ask. And number two, I can't ask that person. So what we're actually going to do today to really just get you guys kind of ripping the plaster off and taking the action is to put you on a time to get you to do some of that stuff. So for some of you guys, you may well have already written that list. Some of you guys, we've got quite an incredible group here. I'm seeing quite a lot of, brazen behavior, which is what I love to see. And I always believe, don't compare yourself to other people. It's not about comparison, but safety in numbers is going to give you the gumption to do the stuff that perhaps if you're sitting there on your own, you're not going to do. So that's why this second call is always based on that list. So what we're going to do for the first 5 minutes is just either start adding to that list until you're up to 100. Okay. And I'll just share the way that I got that list was to go through my Facebook friends. Like I just said, I haven't got 100 people, but actually when I sat down and I looked at my Facebook friends, I definitely had I have 600 friends. You guys will have, you might not have as many, but you'll have something similar in some capacity somewhere. And if not, I'm sure you can write that list when you start putting pen to paper and you just we've got that 5 minute silence. You'd be surprised how many names come up. So you're either going to do that if you've already got the list, because I know some of you guys have already got the list. What you're going to do is you are going to start reaching out to those people. Now, what I wanted to just kind of chat to you guys about in terms of expectations for where you should be up to based on what we've advised is ideally you have finished unit 3, okay? And you're moving into units 4 and 5. Ideally, you'll be finishing unit 5 around the middle of this week. If you're slightly behind, please don't worry. But the reason why I share that is that hopefully you have finished unit 3. You've spoken to your coach about what date you intend to start your boot camp. We always advise doing a 21-day fix just because that's the program you guys are doing, or I think all of you are doing. And so you're going to have the confidence to lead them through that. And obviously it's a quick program and you can just schedule that all out in your bod group. If you haven't finished unit 3 and you haven't yet had that conversation with your coach, please don't worry. I appreciate some people are going to be taking it slower than others because of, work-life balance commitments. And I totally understand that. But what you're going to do, regardless of that, if you haven't finished unit 3, is still reach out to those people. And the reason why you're going to do that is that you just want to be sowing the seed. And I just want to share to really kind of help you guys get into the mindset of when someone says no, or they're not interested, or maybe they'll be interested at a later date, which ultimately is probably going to be 96% of people that you speak to right now are going to say no, not right now, or it's not for me, something along those lines, or reach out to me later. What I want to kind of help you guys with is just learning to become quite thick-skinned with those responses, because those responses are the path to them saying yes. They are not the path to you being a failure. They're not a reflection on you. They're not a reflection on your ability to work this business. And I want to share honestly, the reason why I help as many people as I do, or Joe, Charlotte, etc., Sarah, is honestly, we've just had way more no's. We get no's all the time. They hit us in the face. We don't think, oh, I'm really terrible at this. Oh, I should really probably give up. I'm obviously really bad at this. No, we just say to ourselves, right, well, that's somebody that's not ready just yet. And we'll ask them again in the month. Okay. So it is part of the process. And that's why we wanted to get you doing this today, to just really start to get you guys doing that stuff, which ultimately is when somebody talks about income producing activities, which you'll hear coaches on the National Wake Up Call, you'll hear me talking about, the income producing activities are not posting your post, they're not sharing your workouts, they're not doing your mindset work, they're not actually having your shake either. They are inviting and following up. Okay. And if you aren't doing those things in your business, you haven't got a business. Okay. And so what I'm hoping, Joe, Charlotte, Sarah are hoping, is that we can implement that and help you implement that right now, so that this becomes a daily thing. This becomes normal. Yes, you're going to get knockbacks, and initially it's probably not going to be water off a duck's back. But I just want to share that is 1,000,000% every single coach that you see. The successful coaches have just been willing to fail more times. If we're going to call it failing, they've been willing to have more no's, and they've been willing to follow up with people that have said no more times. Okay. So what you're going to do, and this is just, like, I don't want to give you words for how to connect, particularly with friends and family, which is ultimately what you're going to have on this list, I should think. I don't want to put words into your mouth and say, like, you have to write, what you're going to ask them exactly like this, because of course the way that I talk is probably not the way that you talk, and vice versa. Maybe you like some of the stuff I have to say, maybe you want to tweak it. And that's why we give this structure, but ultimately you're not going to be a pro tomorrow, because you're going to have to figure out your own way with that whole process. So what I would do personally, just, you might want to write this down and work around it, is just say, hey, whoever it is, they're obviously your friend. I know we haven't spoken in a while, but I've just started this amazing new fitness, nutrition, and mindset journey. And I'm going to be starting a new program and helping others with it too. If I got you some more information, would you be interested in taking a look at the details? Okay. And again, like, just word that according to how you would want to word it. And I would always share, and I've shared this in, I think, a couple of the team calls that you guys might have already seen. If I do X, would you do Y? And ultimately, if it's friends or family members, you might feel a bit weird, like giving them a construct in a question. But there is a very well-known kind of strategy that when you say, I'll give you X and would you give me Y in return, it's called reciprocity. You are far more likely to get a response. Okay. Of course, I can say it again. So, and this is me just thinking off the top of my head. And of course, I'm thinking off the top of my head because I do this a lot, right? I don't always send the same message. I don't always send the same invite. I tailor it to, where I am with that person. And so, remember, I'm really used to this. So this is just something that quite naturally I would ask my friends. And when I started, I was saying something along these lines. Hey, and often I hadn't spoken to them for a while, right? Like that list of 100, probably a lot of those people you won't have spoken to them for a while. You could just say, like, hey, I just wanted to reach out. I know we haven't spoken in a long time, but I've just started the most incredible new fitness and nutrition program, along with mindset and a global community, and I'm absolutely loving it. That's the kind of thing that I would say, because I'm a really passionate person and I was absolutely loving it, and hopefully you guys are too. If I get you some more information, do you want to take a look? If I send a video explaining how it works, would you like to take a look? And guys, we have got a video that Charlotte and I did that is a Zoom recording sharing that Beachbody platform and explaining exactly what a bootcamp is. So, it depends how you'd want to then explain it to them as to what question you ask. So it could be, if I send across some more information, would you like to take a look? If I send across a video, would you like to take a look? And of course, if you ask them, if I send more information, would you like to take a look? You need to be ready to then provide them with that information, not in video format. So whether it's voice clips, I know Chessie she's quite natural with her voice, and she's been getting on quite well with voice clips, which again, like for me as a new coach, the thought of sending someone a voice clip, probably even for my friends and family, like, I'll be honest, friends and family invites for me were way harder. They were way harder than inviting someone I didn't even know. And that may well be you, but don't be me and let that stop you, because then what you have is, like, 10 days later, you have someone going, hey, Izzy, what are you doing? It looks amazing. And you're like, damn, well, I just assumed that person wouldn't be interested. And that's why we're going to do this kind of 5-minute task, because assuming makes an ass out of you and me. It's like that age-old little phrase, but it's so true when it comes to this, because we have this prejudgment that that person isn't into fitness. But particularly with lockdown, particularly with the pandemic, you may well have friends or friends of friends who have literally been through it, right? They've been through it. We've all been through it, let's be honest. And they feel like SHIT. They feel absolutely awful and they need this, okay? And they've reached the point where actually they are ready for a fitness and health journey, and maybe they're the last person you think would be interested, but maybe, just maybe, now is the right time. And I can promise you right now, I'm seeing a lot of that in terms of people saying, right, Yeah, Joe, definitely, because I'm talking, I can't really type as I talk. So Joe, go ahead and just share yours, if you want to type it out as well. So what I'm going to do is give you 5 minutes, just to be clear. If you haven't got that list of 100, you're going to start completing that list of 100. If you have, you're going to have 5 minutes to just start asking those people. And guys, like, you're not going to get to 100 right now, particularly if you haven't asked them yet. Constructing those messages to start with might feel hard. Oh, and Charlotte's copied and pasted the YouTube link to the video that her and I did that explains the whole thing, which is amazing. So thank you. Charlotte, Joe, do you want to add anything?
No, I think you just got to just talk to them really as if you were just having a chat with them on the phone or sitting having a coffee with them, really. Just keep it really natural to you. I mean, the one I've just put in the group that was like one of the first ones I sent, and it is quite wordy. I mean, I've cut that right down now, but it worked for me. It generated quite a lot of people coming back to me, and although some of them did say no, they have come back to me since. I mean, I've just signed a lady up today that had an invite from me back in June. And she's just been watching me. She's a friend of a friend, and she's literally just signed up today. She contacted me this morning, so yeah, just they are watching. So,
and what Joe shared is really important. Like, that's why when you're saying, well, what do you say? Well, I would just, that's why every single invite to this warm market in particular is not likely to be the same, because it really depends the relationship you have with them, like when you last saw them and everything else. And also, like what Joe just shared is amazing, because this is why we are getting you to do this, and we're impressing it upon you of like a fundamental importance of your business that you do this now. Because as you can see, yes, they might not say yes tomorrow, but they're then watching you. An invite is a seed sown. And so the more you can sow the seeds now, the more they can see you from the beginning of that journey, and they can start to see you growing and changing. And ultimately they will join you. Imagine if you don't do this here at the start, and then you start inviting them here. They see half of the journey, okay? So if you sow the seed here, you better bet that you are going to see success with those people. You will see unbelievable success with those people. It might not happen in 2 weeks. It might not happen in your first 4 months. Joe's, what are we? End of November, almost December, June, July, August, yeah, 6 months. But that's because she asked these people at the beginning. So really, like, so important. And that's why, like, having that water off the duck's back thing is important, because then you'll notice that some of those people you've asked are going to say no. They're going to be watching you. You know, they're interested. They're just not quite ready. They want to take a peek some more. If we don't invite through social media and they say no. Yes, and that's the other thing. You know, another way that you could reach out, guys, and this is just, you know, an idea. And I think I did this with some people. I just said, I've actually started this amazing new health and nutrition journey, the most incredible community. And I've set up a new page. Do you want to come and follow me there? That could be a form of invite to get them into a further invite. Does that make sense? Because of course, some of you might have people that aren't aware of your new Instagram page. So it's really just making sure you're creating those initial connections, or indeed, if they are already on your Instagram, actually inviting them. For some of you guys, a couple of my coaches on here, you're already set up your bootcamp. You're already kind of talking about that starting on the 16th of December, and you're getting the visuals up, in which case you do want to be inviting those people now, because you've got the visuals in the stories. And I always talk about this to my coaches. Whatever you invite somebody to on the underneath, so the behind the scenes, i.e. in the messenger, you want it to be visible what you're inviting them to on the top. Okay, because if in your stories and your posts it's not obvious what you're doing, and you don't have a boot camp, and there's no sign that you're going to be asking them to join you anytime soon, even if they're your friends, when you ask them underneath and you say, hey, do you want to learn more, I'm going to be setting up this group, but they can't see any proof of you even starting to do it, they will say no, because they're not seeing any proof of it. So that's just something to bear in mind if you haven't got to the point where you have been talking about setting up a boot camp, even if you're just peppercorning it right now, i.e. just chatting about the fact you will be setting one up. But if you're not even doing that yet, just remember that when you invite them, they're probably going to be like, that's why these stories are so important, guys, because they need to see that proof on the surface so that it all makes sense. Yeah, so it all ties up as kind of a circle. Right, so what I'm going to do is set that timer for 5 minutes, and And obviously, yeah, you're either going to add to that list or actually start trying to ask for, it could be friends that are you quite close to. You could be fine with sending them an initial voice clip. So there's no like straight answer on exactly what you're going to say and how you're going to communicate that. So I'll just set the timer. Okay, off we go. And guys, if you've got any questions on anything, just, just pop it in the chat box and we'll try and answer it.
Izzy, can I just ask?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm quite clear yet on how it sort of dovetails together in terms of we're setting up a group, so like
Yes.
a pod group, yeah. Probably the 21 day fix. But then we're inviting people and we're selling them sort of challenge packs essentially, yes. Are we doing kind of both together? And then I'm thinking, if we're setting up a group, then everyone we invite, that's got to be the right group for them.
Yeah,
which possibly limits then who we can invite. I'm just not quite clear how it all.
So first of all, what unit are you up to on your training?
I think I've just done 6.
Okay, so that's cool. So you're all the way up to 6, which is amazing. So you've done the training side of things. So yeah, like I wouldn't worry, because the 21-day fix, and this is one of the main reasons that we advise all new coaches to run a 21-day fix, it's literally going to be for everyone, like literally anyone, unless they've got like a back injury, because it's beginner, intermediate, advanced, it's strength training, cardio, yoga, and Pilates, and it's 30 minutes a day. So generally, that's why we get you to keep it simple. You could create a multi-program boot camp, but then can you imagine? I mean, it's totally up to you. Like we are never going to say this is exactly what you have to do. If you want to set up a multi-program boot camp, you can, but it just makes it a lot more complicated because you've only done the 21-day fix. And then what's the joy and beauty of it is that particularly if they're your friends and family and you're starting a 21-day fix group, you're all starting it on the same day and you get that sense of community, which creates loyalty with those new people. And that's why, and essentially, yeah, you're inviting them to join you. Like, I never think of it as selling them a challenge pack, because for me, it's so much more than a challenge pack. Like it's fitness, nutrition, mindset, global community. So essentially, yeah, if we're going to strip it all down, yeah, you're selling them a challenge pack. But you are going to, you will have seen in our boot camps, we've got like we do mindset check-ins on the superfood, the nutrition side of things as well, and running them all through that. So you're basically inviting them to get fit and healthy with you in their mind and their body. But yeah, they would then enroll with the challenge pack, which is what you guys enrolled with, which hopefully then makes it clearer to understand, because you've also bought exactly the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks. And the groups can be any size, more than ever.
Yeah. I mean, Danielle Natoni, who's one of the most successful coaches in the network, she did a national wake up call probably about 2-3 weeks ago, and it was amazing because she said, I encourage all of my new coaches to just create a really close-knit small group and to not worry about what their coach is doing and how their big group works, because ultimately, and this is so true, your groups are built on community and a sense of community. And if you've got that smaller, close-knit bond to start with, that is the most incredible environment to build on than trying to attract loads of people and setting yourself up for ultimately a fall. Like, I want to be honest, I struggled by the skin of my teeth to get 3 in my first full month, but I did it by the skin of my teeth. So I think just being realistic about expectations for what's achievable and the numbers of people you're likely to get in your first few months. Which is why we set Success Club as kind of the goal, because getting 3 people is doable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's it. If there's somebody who's maybe a bit older, or perhaps, I don't know, have a very high BMI, for example, should we be asking them to get medical clearance first, or fill in a PARQ form or something?
No, because we're not qualified fitness coaches. We're not the person that's delivering that, and there's all of the disclaimers when they enroll that will tell them that. So yes, if someone's got a medical condition and they're not sure if they can work out, yeah, like that would always be the advice. But we don't need to get a PARQ form because we're not qualified coaches. Like, we are Beachbody independent coaches, but we're not qualified as fitness coaches per se. So you never need to worry about any of that from a legislation perspective.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Izzy, can I just ask you, what if you are a qualified fitness instructor? Will that like make a difference? Because I am a qualified fitness instructor. So
You mean?
So say, you know, because I am a qualified instructor, because it's on Beachbody, like it would be separate. But would they, like, normally I would fill a pack, you know, I would fill all the...
You don't want to be colluding the two. You really don't. Like, I'm a PT, a fitness instructor. I never bring any of the legislation around what I'm qualified to do as a PT and fitness instructor into my Beachbody business. Never.
Right, okay.
Because they're completely separate. I'm
Right.
not professing to teach them a class or PT them one-on-one. I'm a Beachbody independent coach, and I'm not PTing them or being a fitness instructor in the capacity that I'm being a Beachbody coach.
So you're just basically encouraging the package, encouraging them to be independent in their own fitness journey, and taking the Shapeology and everything else, and then offering that support with the network group. Is that kind of how?
Yeah, although they don't feel like that. Like, it's not like you say, like, off you go. That's why we create this community, so they feel very much supported by you.
Yeah.
You're not professing to be a fitness qualified, you know, yes you are, and that's a great bonus, and you can say that, but I really wouldn't be bringing that into it, because it's going to really blur the lines and it's going to make it difficult for you. So it's very much like, it doesn't mean if you've got, like, say you've got PT clients and fitness class clients who want to do Beachbody too, great. I have a lot of clients that have come to me that way. I used to teach spin. They love my classes. They're like, Izzy, I've seen you on Instagram. What are you doing? Want to do it with you? Okay, cool. But I never said anything like, you know, I'm qualified to do, you know, that was completely separate.
Okay.
And my PT, my client that I'm going to remotely train tomorrow, she does Beachbody too. But again, like, I don't give her the same experience. Like, my PT is my PT, and her and my Beachbody community is completely different, because of that very reason. I wouldn't want to convolute lines or say that it was one whole thing together, because to me,
yeah, but you find that your clients that you've got for your PT and things like that are genuinely sort of like interested in your journey, and you've got them on board as well.
Yeah, I haven't even pitched it to them. I never wanted, when I was doing my PT in my classes, I never wanted to be pitching Beachbody to them, because to me, that didn't feel right. They'd come to me in the flesh to do stuff with me in the flesh, which is very different to the remote format. If they then came to me through my Instagram and then would approach me about it, great. Subsequently, I don't really PT and train people anymore, because I wanted to reel back on it. I wanted to go all in on Beachbody. So I kind of pushed that bit aside. I have one client who I love, so I PT her remotely twice a week just because I love her. But I never tried to blur the lines or bring into my classes, hey, why don't you do this? Because again, like, in each their own with that. But what I'm saying is, from a legislation professional perspective, I don't think you want to be blurring the lines with both.
Okay, thank you.
Presumably there'd be insurance implications if you did.
Yeah, like, I haven't even gone into it. I just wouldn't. I just completely separate businesses. Yes, one can move into the other, but they, for all intents and purposes, you're offering two completely different things. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Izzy, my problem is everyone's moaning about the price of it. So I was texting you before, wasn't I, about that?
Yeah.
It's getting really like, oh, I can't afford to pay the outright cost. I wish it was monthly.
So what I would say, and this is something that we actually did a training on a few weeks ago, there's recordings. If you go to Izzy Bradshaw Fitness on my YouTube, there are recordings, and I think there is one entitled Overcoming Objections. Price and time are objections. they aren't usually the real reason why someone doesn't want to do it. So when someone says, I don't have the money, they actually haven't seen the value enough to fork out that money to do the thing. And so when somebody says like they don't have the money, overcoming objections is really important. And that's where your ability to overcome objections, hand on heart, honestly, will grow as your confidence and belief in what we do grows, right? And this is something that I shared in that call. Essentially, it's their will against yours. So their belief in the fact that it's not that value for money, if their belief in that is stronger than your ability to push back and say, well, I felt the same, but actually what I found is it was the single best investment I ever made in myself, the stronger of those two wills will win, if that makes sense. So what I will always do, and this is hand on heart honest, like when I enrolled, I didn't have the money to pay. It was 140, actually, it was discounted. I had just left my 6-figure corporate job. I was building up my PT. We have a stocking great mortgage. I really needed to make sure I was paying my part on that. And investing in this was not something my husband wanted me to do at all. So what I always say, and it felt, found is an amazing construct for overcoming an objection. For some of you guys that have been in sales will have heard that construct before, but getting into their shoes. So I know how you feel. I felt exactly the same. I had to pay on a credit card. I didn't know how I would, how I would get that money back. But what I have found is it was the single best investment I ever made in my health. And like hand on heart, personally, I would pay 10 times what I have to be where I am now. Like I would pay 1,400 quid for all of that to be where I am now with my business. Obviously it's slightly different because I've earned back my investment and the rest. And it's different when it's boot campers, but you can still talk about saying it was a single best investment you've made in your health. But ultimately, as you go along your journey, can you see your strength of conviction and your ability to push back is going to be stronger because your results and your belief is going to be stronger, and therefore your confidence will be greater. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Jo, Charlotte, do you want to add anything?
Just that when you invite people, they need to trust you. Like, it's a lot of money for some people up front, and by you guys showing up every day, being passionate, sharing what we're doing, sharing the nutrition, sharing the fitness, sharing the community, they're going to then see the value in it, and then they're going to be able to justify spending that money. So the first invite that you send to someone, they're probably going to think, oh my God, no, I'm never going to be able to afford that. And then when you show the changes in yourself, you get a transformation, you show how easy it is. What works for me is overcoming objections in my stories. So if I've been inviting and somebody said something to me like, oh, I really can't afford it, the next day on my stories I'll be like, this is hands down like the best money I've ever spent, like, and then because I know they're watching. So don't take it personally, and just be convinced that they'll like come round and they'll see the value in what we do. The more you share the value in what we do, the more chance you're going to have of converting them, because then they'll see the whole package on when they follow you for a little while.
That's a really good point Charlotte just made. Thank you, because I didn't even think of that. Publicly overcoming their objections in a post or a story is the most powerful thing you can do. So if you're getting loads of the same pushback, so I don't have enough time is a really common one. I don't have enough money, particularly at this time of the year, is probably the most common one. You can write a post around that and say, I really didn't have the money to do this. I believed I didn't. And you can write a whole story about it. And then all of those people that have said, as Charlotte was saying, she does it in her stories, which is another really great way to do it, because she's building connection and trust by being on the camera. So yeah, Jo, were you going to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I do the same as Charlotte. I sort of overcome the objections. I mean, once a week, probably I'll do a post on excuses and things like that. I think even today I put a post out and just said, like, you know, if you've got a legitimate reason for starting in January, then let's hear it. No excuses. Otherwise, you know, let's be happy with something. Yeah.
I love it. I can't be that punchy. I love it.
Well, it works for some people, because like,
definitely
it calls you out. Like, have I got you know, what is my excuse for not starting in January? I haven't actually got one. So yeah.
And you've got to be true to who you are. If you're quite punchy and straight to the point, don't be afraid to be that person that you truly are, which is really easy to say and very hard to do. But if you are quite like that, then you'll be surprised when you're being true to who you are, even if you're being quite blunt or punchy, how much engagement you'll get, because you're going to attract your tribe. And like, actually, I read Joe's post earlier and I absolutely loved it. It was just so like, yeah, let's have it. What are your excuses? Don't buy any of them, basically. Yeah. Amazing.
Read it or get lost.
Yeah. Get in or out. So guys, I don't know whether you got that 5 minutes to write the list. And what we'll do is we'll start the timer again. If you've got comments or questions, we're here to help. It's really great to have all these questions. Can you just pop them in the chat box so that we can just do the 5-minute task? We can always do more questions in a bit. Okay, we're just going to have another 30 seconds. And if you've got any questions or anything, do just type it in the box. What I found easiest with the list was literally to just handwrite it on one piece of paper I'm sure that's what you guys have done, but kept it simple. Okay, how was that? Has anyone got any questions? Probably started you off on a task that you feel you can now get your teeth stuck into if you didn't before, hopefully. Next few hours of coach time planned. Does anyone want to share what they've sent or want to ask about what they've sent? Gemma, I didn't actually ask you, did that help with your people that were asking about their money objections?
Yeah, I'm going to put a post out in a bit, so just to try and get people to think about a bit more about it. It's mainly my friends, to be honest, that are saying about my money, which is harder, I suppose.
I tell you what it is, like hand on heart, and this is for all of you guys where you are on your journey. You've been doing your program for about 10 days. They probably haven't really seen the results yet. They're seeing you change. They're literally watching you. And so the easiest thing for them to say, particularly this time of the year, as we said, is I don't have the money. And ultimately it won't necessarily be because they don't have the money. And I remember my first people came 2 weeks in, okay? And I was 2 weeks into my 21 Day Fix program, and I was sick of feeling amazing, literally following Ultimate Portion Fix and absolutely having the superfood. 14 days in, I felt insane. And in the end, I just said to myself, Izzy, you just got to get over yourself and share how you're feeling. Because right now, you're inviting your friends and they don't want to join you, but you're not actually really sharing passionately how much you're enjoying it because you're so afraid about what people think about you. And that was me. And in the end, I just thought, yeah, this is insane. And if I want to share this with people who actually really need to do this, then I need to get over myself and passionately share it as passionately as I know I'm loving it. And I actually did a live IGTV. I did a live IGTV, which was the scariest thing I think I have ever done in my coach career. More scary than doing the coming out post because it's live and it's not just a story, it's a live video. And I was just authentic, natural. I pulled the car over. I think I was on the way somewhere with Arthur. He'd fallen asleep. He was really young. It was literally completely natural, no light ring or anything like that. I pulled the car over and I went live and I just said, look, I have to share this with you. I have been doing this for 2 weeks. I am feeling better than I've ever felt. I have so much energy. My results are insane. The global community is incredible. I've had acne for 12 years. It's absolutely blighted me in my confidence. And it's cleared it all up as well. And I feel incredible. And so I have to share this with you because it's bringing so much to my life and it's giving me so much confidence that actually I'm doing you guys a disservice if I don't share it with you. And it wasn't said like that because of course it was my first live IGTV and it was definitely far from perfect. But people felt my emotion. They really felt my emotion. They felt how raw and authentic it was. And do you know what happened? 2 of my friends that day who told me to bog off with my invite, a bit like Gemma, like, no, I'll sign up, Izzy. I'll sign up with you and I'll do it with you on Monday. So that, if I hadn't done that one thing, really pushing myself out of my comfort zone, and I mean really, I was physically shaking. I thought I was going to be sick. That's how bad it was. If I hadn't have done that, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. And that's why, guys, you need to constantly do this. Am I pushing myself out of my comfort zone enough? Am I sharing the value authentically and genuinely, or am I too scared about what people think, so I'm holding myself back? Because that will be the difference between you seeing a lot of success and really finding it hard to help those first few people because you're not letting them in on the whole journey. It's not easy. So yeah, like if you want to give that one a crack, I would thoroughly recommend it. You will nearly pap yourself. It'll be the most terrifying thing you will do. But once you have done it, the amount of personal growth and confidence, and then like, wow, I just helped my first people, you'll do it again.
Just to add to that one, because I've kind of just been through the process that you guys are going through at the moment, and one of the very first things Izzy said to me when I was in exactly the same boat. So where you are now, don't think this is, by any means unusual. Most people, when they start this journey, will be in exactly this place where, you know, they're starting to put their first messages out and people are starting to come back with no's. But when I was in exactly the same place that you are right now, Izzy said to me exactly the same thing, and I had to trust that the path that Izzy brought before me, if you like, would transpire. And the one thing that she said to me is, you have to throw yourself into this process with the full belief that those most amazing transformation photos that you see online, and we'll have all seen them sometime before, are going to be you. So that you know, that journey that you're going to go on when you go on that 21-day program, if you like, and you look at those pictures of other people and go, isn't that amazing? That's going to be you. And if you put everything into it, if you put yourself in through that nutrition, in through the Shakeology side of things, in through Portion Fix, and in through the training, you will be able to stand there at the end of the day and put those photos up. And that is exactly when people turn around and say, I can't believe that's just happened. Do you see what I mean? And that's when they jump on board. And I've had exactly the same thing. I've had, you know, my first boot camp, I really struggled to get people to buy in. This one, I've just put my first, you know, kind of call to action out, if you like. And I've got 6 people so far who all turned around and said no last time. Yeah. And they're not signed up yet, but they're people this time who are at least prepared to listen because of the fact that the photographs were so good from last time. And you are your single biggest advert. At this stage, people know you more than they know anything else, and you're your biggest billboard. So all I'd say, having just gone through it, is throw yourself at it wholeheartedly and believe that it's going to happen, and you're going to look like those people who make those transformations.
And I mean, Sarah's just the most unbelievable example of that. And she, you know, being coachable, just doing those things, following the nutrition, like as Sarah's just shared, like that single thing will determine your success. If you get the results and you feel incredible, it's going to be quite natural. It's going to be quite natural that the success will follow. It's not going to feel natural to share that live IGTV video. It might feel natural, but also terrifying. But that is what they need to see, like those physical results. And also the fact that Sarah's then consistently been showing up. She started this new thing. She's still doing it. She's still getting amazing results. She's still sharing a post every day. She's working full time. She's got 2 young little boys at home. Like, I don't even know how she does it, but she does. So yeah, and again, like each one of our journeys is completely different. And that's what people are going to buy into, is you, as Sarah just said. Yeah, thanks for that. It's just so useful to have that. I wouldn't have even thought to have shared that. So thanks, Sarah. Jo, Charlotte, do you want to add anything? Was there anything you guys want to ask questions on, like about this list, or about your training, or where you're struggling? Hopefully you guys are all massively feeling the benefit of the personal development. And if you're not, then are you doing it every day for at least 15 minutes? Because I know that was the thing that really, for me, like, yeah, aside from the physical, I just literally, as Sarah said, like, you need to believe that this is going to happen for you, that you can do this and that you will smash it. And you won't have that mindset, I promise you, unless you're doing your personal development. And I was the person that, as a new coach, was like, don't need that. Had a really successful career, don't need personal development. I've got as far as I have without mindset development books, thanks very much. And then I started to struggle, and my coach sent me a little message in Messenger, said, are you doing your personal development? I was like, no. And she was like, you're not going to survive if you don't do personal development. And that was the day I started doing it every day. So hopefully you guys has anyone got any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm struggling with the food. I'm not struggling with the exercise. I'm not struggling with the personal development. I'm struggling getting my head around the containers. Like, I got the containers, but I think you're meant to get stickers for them, and I'm not quite sure which box should be what. And I have been working like 12. I have had a particularly really, really busy week. I've had like 12-hour shifts. I'm just in the process of leasing a building, so I've got like a really big, heavy workload on at the minute. And what I found really difficult is I've been watching my diet, and I'm loving the Shakeology. Like, I'm getting my head around that, but I just can't seem to get my head around the containers and where I actually find like the information. I have looked on the website and looked at the videos and these recipes, but I'm like, I've been looking through this and I'm like, where does it say
What are you looking at? Can you just show me what book you're looking at? What? Yeah, so that's the Beachbody Guide to Nutrition. So what you want to do, are you looking on your laptop or a tablet or not a phone?
I'm looking on my laptop.
Okay, perfect.
I struggled with this. Izzy helped because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, and this is like it's a bit of a personal bugbear that I have with this program. It's all there, but I can tell you it is a little bit hard to find. Okay,
Yeah,
so
because that's what I found. I've been trying to research it, and I did text Jo this week saying, "Are we meant to get like a book on this or something?" And she was like, "No, it's online." And I was like, "Oh my god, literally, I haven't got time to look at that." And if I'm going to be saying, "Yeah, this is amazing," but I don't feel comfortable about saying that just quite yet because I don't fully understand how the containers
okay.
work.
So number one, have you got time to sit down and look on your laptop at the program materials?
I've literally made time in a really busy schedule, and I've looked at recipes and I've looked at like other things, but I've watched all the videos of is it Autumn that she's saying do this and do that, but it's not.
It won't make sense unless you go into the program materials, and I think it's module 7. If someone can tell me which module it is off the top of my head, I think it's module 7. The Containers 101 and the food lists is all the documents that you need to understand your calorie bracket, your containers per day. And once you understand your containers per day, you're off. But I would just say, like, if you're under a really heavy workload at work and you don't have time to go through that and you feel like you don't have that capacity, make time at the weekend to go through it, because I promise you
that's when I work.
Okay, so whatever it might be, just whenever you find that. And honestly, it's 15-20 minutes, if that, once you found it under. Do you want to write this down? It's
because that's what I've struggled with. I mean, I have spent a good couple of hours. I've stayed up till 2 a.m. in the morning, like trying to research it, and I can't find where like the information very.
I'm just typing it in here now.
There's an equation, Jane, that she goes through on
video. It's module 7. Can anyone tell me?
It's video 10 on.
No, not the video. Just the document. The program materials section is the easiest place for Jane to go, just because then she's going to have like the paper. Do you know what I mean? Like just be able to put it all. Because it sounds as though you haven't found that bit. Is that right?
Have you found this food list, Jane?
No.
Okay.
That helped me massively because I couldn't get my head around it.
I think it's module 7. If someone can log in and tell me which module it is on the Beachbody On Demand platform under program materials, I think it's module 7.
That's what Izzy's talking about. It's the food list on the module, the program modules.
I think it's module 7, Jane, but it is. So basically, you're going to go into Ultimate Portion Fix. You are going to go to the program materials tab, and it is quite a long way down. And I think it's module 7, but my brain might not have remembered that quite right. It's around there.
Is this on the coaches unit?
This is on the Beachbody On Demand, where you find your workout programs.
This is on the beach. No, I've not found this at all. No.
So I've just written in the comments, if you want to just write down exactly what
I can share my screen if you want. I've got it open.
Yeah, I mean, let's not go into that now because it's going to completely sidetrack the call. That's all on there in terms of what I've just put in the chat. So it's Ultimate Portion Fix. Jane, I'll put it in the chat box. Program Materials, Module 7. That's what I believe it is, although I'm not logged in right now. Containers 101 and then Food List. But Jo will be able to direct you, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Of course.
It's module 3 is Containers 101.
Oh, there we go. Good job it's not module 7.
And hang on, I've got it on here.
Thanks, Sarah.
Oh, God. And then module 4 is meal prep, which includes the grocery list template and the meal planner. It is relatively easy to find. If you use a phone or a tablet, if you go onto the Beachbody On Demand, exactly where your programs are, and you just go down and find Ultimate Portion Fix as if it were one of your workout programs, it is pretty easy to look at on the phone, to be fair.
I just hate looking on a phone because I find the screen too small, but that's just personal to.
Yeah, but it's there if you need it quickly, it's there.
I promise you, that was the biggest ball ache for me, I want to be honest, Ultimate Portion Fix, when it all went onto that platform and everything was there. And then when I decided that I was just going to calm myself down and actually just make 5-10 minutes to go through it, best thing I ever did. I think that's probably the biggest place where we get our knickers in the twist, is like a new coach. Took me 2 months to get Charlotte onto it, I think. Took Joe a little while to get onto it.
When I enrolled, you didn't get it included.
Yeah.
So we had to buy it separate. But when I bought it and I sat down and I went through it, it was the best thing I ever did. Like, it's, if you reach out to Jo, she'll be able to work out what calorie bracket you're on, what plan you should be on, and how many puts every day that you can have. And it's super simple from there.
Yeah, I've got like I've worked the calories and things like that out. It was just like the container bit. I couldn't find it. But
you can also talk to Jo about ordering the book, which doesn't come included, but I think it's about 30 quid. You might just be a paper person. You might just be a person that needs the document in front of you.
Yeah.
I do, and it helps me loads.
Yeah, I had to order the book because I didn't get it included, so I had to pay for it and get it.
It doesn't come included in the challenge pack. So if you want the book, then I think it's, I don't know, how much was it, Jo?
You get 3 books for 30 quid.
Oh, there you go. It's not expensive.
Yeah. So yeah, but I had to buy the whole thing. It was like, because when I bought my challenge pack, it wasn't included online, so I had to pay like 80 quid for that, and then I got the books with it as well. But I think the books, about 30 quid for all the books, aren't they?
Thank you.
Yeah.
You'll get there. Just like try and, in our heads we think it's a really big thing, and then once you've worked it out, it's not. So just bear with it.
Yeah, because if I want to do it properly, and I don't.
Yes.
It's just been frustrating with it. I'm not been able to get my head around it.
You will, and honestly, it'll be so beyond worth it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Has anyone got any questions about anything out? Like, honestly, please use this time, because I know as a new coach how it is, and it's great you guys are asking all these questions and commenting and stuff, because you can just really chat things through. And we've got Charlotte, Jo and Sarah, different phases in our journeys and everything else, and it's quite useful, hopefully, for you guys.
I've been loving everybody's stories, by the way. I have found that inspirational, in the group, like checking you all out and seeing things. And I think Taylor, you out walking the other day, and it was like, that was really nice. It made a bit more of a connection. I've been checking in on everyone and just like, oh, that's good. Yeah, they're doing well. And it sort of egged me on when I've been tired.
Yes.
Well, they're doing it, so I need to do it.
And your story this morning was hilarious, Jane, with your hair.
I was knackered this morning.
She did a post-workout picture and her hair was like wild.
Guys, like, you used it. Like,
it's amazing.
You probably may or may not, maybe you are already realizing, but this is such a special thing, and you guys are all doing this together as new coaches. And who knows, in 2.5 years, you could well be here, like, reminiscing over the time that you all supported one another. The support that you guys, like, we're here to support you, but the support you guys can give one another is unlike anything else, because you're all starting this journey together, and only you are immediately feeling the same fears right now in real time. And that really creates a bond if you lean into it. So support each other's posts. As Jane said, like, go, and I'm sure you're doing it anyway. Like, I don't keep tabs on every single one of you. But the more you can encourage one another, like each other's posts, not to be like, oh, that person's done this, oh, I'm so crap because they're already here. Like, try to take comparison away. This is something Jo and I have spoken about a lot. Like, comparison is the thief of joy, and it will be the quickest way to nosedive in your business. But to encourage one another in your own rights, on your own journeys, in your own path, and take inspiration from people in a positive way, not to be like, oh gosh, I'm like, and honestly, that was me when I was a new coach. I wanted to encourage other people, but then when other people did other stuff, I was like, oh well, shit, like, I'm obviously really crap at this because this person's done that and this. And that is mindset I've come out of, and I can tell you that mindset is so important I rarely go into other coaches' pages that are in a similar place to me, because it can bring on that, like, you end up watching all their stories all the time, and that's not good either. But lean into this. It's amazing what we've got here. We've got an amazing group of coaches here as well. We really have, and I'm not just saying that. You guys are really doing the things. So, like, carry each other, do it together. Get that list written. If you haven't written it, set a goal by the end of tomorrow or Wednesday. I will have invited all of those people. Maybe you don't have that allowance in your diary because you haven't started the list, but if you have, set a date by which you are going to complete that task. Because if you don't set a date and you don't put an end date on when you're going to complete the task, you are never going to do that scary thing of inviting them all. You just won't do it. But that's why I wanted to dedicate that time to this, because I know that's the number one thing that as new coaches we don't do. And actually it's the single thing that's going to build your business for the future. As Jo just shared, like, just enroll someone from her initial list.
Just want to shout Taylor out. She's just done a call to action for a boot camp after our one-to-one.
Oh, well done. That's awesome.
It's incredible. Her visuals are a lot better than mine were, and she's called to action. She's put a poll on. She's done her first videos filming herself doing her workout, and she's just doing amazing. So well done, girl.
Oh, great work. Like, honestly, you guys, I'm not just saying this, like, some of those visuals, I'm like, mine literally look like they were put together by a toddler. Like,
mine were awful.
Visual was just an Instagram story. It was just literally a cover from an Instagram saying Charles Cyber Gym, come join me. Like, it's amazing stuff you guys are coming out with. I'm so jealous.
I think mine was a pair of trainers.
And the thing is, guys, as well, like, recognize and realize that some of you are going to be really strong at things like that, and some of you really aren't. And that doesn't bear a reflection on whether or not you're going to be successful. Like, honestly, visuals for me, I'm really not a visual person in terms of wanting to spend time doing it. I'm very impatient by nature, so making things look pretty is not my jam, and it never was. Like, I have a virtual assistant now who does my visuals for me. In case you've seen mine and you think I've done them myself, I haven't. It wasn't always that way, but, you know, I built the success I have based on the fact that I was shit at doing that stuff. But you've got to play to your strengths. And that's something that you'll learn as you grow. Like, play to your strengths. All of your strong points are going to be different. It doesn't mean any of you are going to be any more successful than the next person. Well, I've really enjoyed this call.
Really good.
Nice to see you. Charlotte, when's your next shift?
Tomorrow.